Working at 13 News Now gives me pride because it's the station that I grew up watching. I grew up here in Hampton Roads. I remember, seeing Jim Kincaid on the air, and you had Joe Folks, who was the meteorologist at the time, Duane Harding. So the opportunity to get an internship here when I was in college and then eventually to be hired by the station, I mean, there's nothing better than to work at a station in your hometown and with people that you grew up watching. The long-term goal was to get a job in my hometown at 13 News Now. And of course, I'm a senior in college. I'm applying for jobs in Bangor, Maine, and Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Salisbury, Maryland, because at that time in the business, you started in a smaller market and you worked your way up to a larger market, such as Hampton Roads. I was fortunate enough, having been an intern here, something that would never happen today. We had a hurricane off our coast in 1995. That was Hurricane Felix. And at that point, the station we weren't on 24 hours a day. We were during the week, but not on weekends. So they actually decided to take someone who was an intern, and I was doing cut-ins during the overnight. I wasn't even an employee. I was basically a contract employee. I was at will or a freelancer by that, at that point. And it was a couple of weeks later, the news director called me up and said, we want to offer you a job. And just the opportunity to grow as a forecaster, as a meteorologist, as an anchor, and as a part of the community. That's what's kept me here. It's a passion for the job. It's a passion for weather. I remember the 1980 Circus Blizzard. I talked about it at length. I remember the elephants walking down the street. I remember people getting snowed in the scope. That and Hurricane Gloria. Those two things brought my passion about weather as a kid. So I think just having that passion for weather, passion for helping people, I like to think that, by warning people of severe weather, that we have given them opportunities to protect themselves, to protect their property, whether it's cold snaps, ice storms, hurricanes, thunderstorms, or tornadoes. We all love being able to forecast nice sunny days and have a nice stretch of weather, but it's when you have that severe weather, and we don't want severe weather, of course, we don't want damage, we don't want destruction from these storms, but being able to alert people and warn people that these storms are coming, to me, that is the value that a live meteorologist can give that, someone in another town, or on a national broadcast, or even frankly an app can't do. When there's severe weather, it shows that, people tune in to live broadcast because that is more immediate than anything else. And that's still where I think there's a value in having your local broadcasts. It's evolving and it's changing, and we are distributing our messages and our forecasts on multiple platforms now. But when push comes to shove, and when the severe weather is there, it's the local broadcast. That's where people turn when there's a hurricane coming, when they get that alert on their cell phone that there's a tornado warning. One of the first things they do is they turn on the TV. Certainly living in the area and having grown up here, I know how the bay and the ocean interacts with the land, and this is still a fairly large area to forecast for. We're forecasting from the eastern shore to the Outer Banks, almost to Interstate 95. The weather that we see in Southampton County is very different than what we see in Dare County, which is very different than Accomack County. And I think one of the things, having grown up here, having lived here, I know how a change in the wind direction from off the water or from the west can affect different areas of Hampton Roads in a different way. When I'm forecasting and tracking thunderstorms and I see a city name that pops up, that's not just a city name to me. I grew up here. I've been to these towns. I don't think there's hardly a road in Hampton Roads that I haven't driven on at some point in my life. I've been to every city, every county. I grew up here. I crabbed in Mans Harbor. I deep sea fished out of Rudy Inlet. I've been up on the eastern shore. I've been out in Southampton County and the peanut fields and the cotton fields, and I've seen of course, the Smithfield ham. So being part of the area and having visited and driven through and stopped by and eaten at a restaurant and all of these different localities, you really get a connection with the community. And I'm not just forecasting for cities and place names on a map, I'm forecasting for towns that friends and family live in. You know, you get here and you get to work with some amazing people. We've got some amazing journalists here who really care and are passionate about the community. We have some award-winning photographers that go out and shoot amazing video to help tell the stories that are going on in the communities. You know, our sales team, they're out there. Most of them have been here for a long time as well, so they've made the connections to the communities, to the companies, to the businesses that help 13 News Now, of course, stay on the air. And, you know, marketing, our engineers who have been here forever. So it's a family. And I think it's the people that keep me smiling every day when I come to work.